Our original design for the solar array was involving these speed rail connectors, 3 of them up top, and then there were going to be 3 of them at about 1/3 of the way up. I'm rethinking this, and I want these supports to be as low as they can. So I think I'm going to put one right here, and then one in similar position right here. And the reason I want to do that is twofold. One, I want to make sure I go into wood. Now some of you may be asking, why don't you just bolt into the frame underneath here, the metal frame? And that's an important question. It's a good question. It's because I want to keep grounding for the solar panels separate from grounding for the rest of the system. The rest of the system inside is grounded to this frame. And I don't also want to ground the solar panels to the frame. I want to have separate grounding for them that will go directly into the literal soil, soil grounding. I do have lightning protection for the solar panels and for the system on here, but I also want to put the grounding for the panels directly to the ground. So that's the reason I'm doing it, because I want to stay on my anchors, I want to stay screwed into wood. The other reason is because these areas right here, near the corners, offer the best strength against things like winds and you know, forces and racking and stuff like that. Originally, we had some 1-foot pieces connected to speed rail that would hold a pipe that would go across the top. That is about 10 feet wide, and we're going to stick with that. We're going to stick with a similar system down here with a longer pipe, but one that is adjustable for different seasons, but maybe only supported in 2 places, maybe 3, I don't know. The original plan, and you saw this if you followed us on these videos, you remember that Robber and I drilled and welded these together, and we went to a little bit of work doing it. The idea was that this bolts to the bar that runs across, and then the solar panels bolt to it. And at the time we thought it was a good system, but these things are really heavy, for one thing. That could be good and that could be bad, but they're really heavy. They're not very flexible, and the other thing is that it required us to make them in 2 pieces where these fit together like this. The reason we did it that way is because this trailer is only 6 feet deep, and that allowed us to break it down and store them inside the trailer and carry them that way. I did originally think about using something like a unistrut, but I decided against it initially. But I don't like this because it relies on screws that you have to bolt it together for. It rattles, and if you get 6 of these on here, it's very, very heavy. So it means we're going back to the unistrut. We're going to try this. What I like about the unistrut is that it's lighter for its length. It offers some strength, but also it offers some flexibility. I don't know if you see that on camera, but it offers a little bit of flexibility that could mitigate, you know, some of the wind forces that are on it and a good high wind. We'll try it and see what we get. And I'd like to keep this at 10 feet of length to cover the whole panel, to support the whole panel on both sides, because I have one panel here and another panel there. But if I need to, I can cut it in half, and then the unistrut makes a bracket that I can use to tie these 2 together. I don't like that idea, but if it's the only way I'll be able to transport this, then I'll go that route. Any questions, Rob?
No.
No. So, first order of business is to get our speed rail connections hooked in, get some pipe cut, and go that way. I really don't like the way that that's angled, and it's angled like that because we have two pieces, one here and they meet in the middle. I think I'm going to replace this with an entire joint, one single piece, so it stays straight and stronger that way. Okay, so transverse bar, and then since I'm using Unistrut makes this little clamp that connects to the inside of the strut and wraps around the bar. Looks like it'll be fine. I mean, it's not as thick and strong as I'd like, but it is a strap, which means that its real strength is in tension, so it should be fine. We'll just monitor it and make sure. In trying to set this up, and I knew this would happen, I discovered that these long stanchions here for the bottom are too long, and I knew they would be. I just didn't need to figure out about how much. I think I'm going to cut these in about half, and I'm going to cut the part that slides over them in about half, and that should give us about enough that we need for proper tilting of this. But you know what? Sun's starting to get a little low in the sky, and dinner is fixing, so I'm gonna have to pick this up another time. We'll come back to it here in a day or so. Well, hi folks, E-Chip and Robber. It's been 2 weeks since the prior section of video you just saw. We have had rain, snow, all kinds of stuff going on, and we went to Missouri last weekend and picked up something which will be the subject of a different video. So today the plan is to finish up this panel rack as best we can. We have to finish up putting the struts on, and then we're gonna set the first top 3 solar panels. Then we'll make some adjustments and set the other 3, and lift it up and then set the other 3. We've got to find a way to support this and lift it up off the ground, off its angle. So that's part of sort of figuring out what we're going to do here. But here we go. How you doing there, Rob? Doing all right?
I don't want to work today, really.
Why?
Because I don't feel good. I have a headache. He's human trafficking me. I'm working, being forced to work without pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
This is the basic framework, and as it is, just by itself, it's pretty heavy. My guess is at least 75 pounds, maybe going on 100. It's just galvanized pipe and aluminum speed rail fittings and steel Unistrut and connectors. I may wind up cutting these shorter still, but I want to make sure that I get the angles right first. Let's apply a few solar panels, see what happens. Okay, so right now we're looking at the top of the trailer on the opposite side, the backs of the panels there. I'm thinking I will install this boat winch, sort of temporarily right here. And then, extend that hook over and bring it up, and then eventually, get it anchored, with this strap to hold it in place. What I like about this is that the winch is strong enough to hold it. It's non-electric, and it should have what it needs to hold these racks in place. And I will go ahead and hook a welded wire or a welded ring or something like that on the end of this, so that here comes the train, so that it won't come loose in case the wind has it wiggling around or something like that. But the strap, I have no doubt, is strong enough to hold it even in a wind. So I've already got my things marked. I'm going to try it But in the meantime, I am totally open to your suggestions, so please chime in. I appreciate it. We got it on here and it's made so that it can be removed. All we need to do is get this to stretch over there, hook onto that bar, and let's try to lift this rack and see what we can do. And decided to install that strap down on this bar, or maybe even another one that could be lower. That would mean bringing the winch strap over the top of the trailer there and down here. Problem I have is, and that's original design I had, that's original idea I had a long time ago, and I even bought what's known as a chafing bar to be mounted up there so that that strap could rub over it without causing any damage to the trailer itself, and it would also allow the strap to stand out a little bit from the top and side of the trailer. The only problem is that for the life of me, I cannot find that chafing bar. I'll tell you, it stinks getting older. I know I have it. I remember seeing it. I remember buying it. But it's been, about a year and a half. And it's put away somewhere, and I just cannot find it. I've torn everything apart trying to find it. So, I hopefully have devised a decent temporary fix until I can find it. I could not find another chafing bar. I forgot where I found it and all that good stuff. But I did find something that I hope will work, and it is this. This is a chest handle. It's made to go on a heavy chest. It's got the handle here that pulls out. But in looking at this, I realized that this has a smooth chafing surface over which the belt, that strapping, can run, and it also has this handle that can be this handle can also serve as a guide. So I will cut this little bit right here and this little bit right here and see if I can bend this entire tab down to a 90-degree bend so that I can bolt it into the side and I can bolt it into the top. I really don't like it, but I mean it's all I can find in a pinch. Oh, so pretending that this is the top of the trailer looking down over the edge, the strap would go through here and down. Okay, so there we go. Okay, well now I'm gonna have to wait for some help. As you can see, I do have it off the ground, and the further up it goes, the more sturdy it becomes, not shaking like it was. But as you can see, these three stanchions here, I've taken this as far up as I can go because they're bound, and I can't be on both sides or in the middle at once to push the top of these panels out so that I can get those things set the right way. So I have to wait until I get some help to finish this. Hopefully Robert will be home pretty soon. She's feeling well enough to help me. We managed to get it winched up. As you can see, it's nice and tight there. It seems a little wobbly. I guess I'm not too concerned with it moving a little bit in the wind as long as it doesn't rattle or cause damage. I wanted to show some video of this getting cranked up, but someone was here helping us who I didn't think wanted to be on video, so I didn't get that. But I mean, you know how it works. We've got the you've got the winch right there, and there's a strap that just goes across that chafing bar and then hooks into the D-ring there. The next thing to do would be to tighten everything up. I've got to find a way to hook these two bars together without interfering with solar panels, because as you can see, they're coming apart up there at the top, and that's because the bars up there, they sag a little bit. So putting all this together, tightening it up some, cinching it up and tightening it up good, that'll go a long way toward making this a really substantial array. Well, hi folks, E-Chip here, and it's been a few days since we did this last work on it that you saw in the prior section of the video. I've been looking for some particular parts to hold this super strut or unistrut material together, and I've been unsuccessful. It looks like super strut doesn't make, or unistrut doesn't make, the particular kind of clamp I'm looking for, so I figured out a way to do it, and I'll make and put those on today. Also, since it's been sitting here, we have had some winds, and there's been an opportunity to observe how well this thing performs in the wind. It doesn't do bad going front and back like this because the trailer just moves with it. But what we have observed, of course, is this lateral side-to-side stuff that sort of wiggles around, and wondering if that's really an issue. As I said before, the tough points, I think the weakest points of this system will be those little round anchors with tabs on there that sort of hold the struts and the stanchions. They're pretty strong, but you know, it's something to watch. And one thing I may want to do is perhaps get some ground stakes and some springs or something, really tight springs, tough springs, to attach to the bottom of the rack or something like that, just to keep it from moving too much side to side in the wind. I don't know. We'll just see. I hope I'm not making this more than it ought to be. You know, that's one of the things that I'm always afraid of, that it's just too much stuff, you know. But anyway, again, I've got to keep it from touching the ground. I have to be able to adjust it for the sun, and I have to be able to move buzz. So this is sort of what I came up with. If anybody's got any ideas, I'm certainly open to listening. But today, it'll be a case of making the brackets to hold this unistrut together side by side, to keep it from separating, and the panels from separating, as you saw in the prior section of video, all the way up and down this. And then also to get the other panels set and just see what comes of this, and let it sit here for a while, do its thing. It's springtime here in the central US, so we will get some storms and some windy weather, and I'd like to see how it performs. So anyway, stick with me, let's do this. So as you can see, near the top of this, where these two pieces of unistrut come together, panels have separated, and that's just because of gravity, and there's a tendency for it to sag on this side and sag on this side. And so I want to find something. I was looking for a bracket that would hold that together, but I haven't been able to find anything. So I sort of created my own thing. When I was looking for superstrut and unistrut parts, I ran across these, what they're called, cone nuts. They're designed to slide inside of that channel on the unistrut. You insert it this way, and then you turn it in the channel so these corners lock in. And then, of course, it's threaded, so you can bolt a bolt through it, and it'll press up against the inside of the channel and hold things nice and tightly against it. And I got some aluminum strapping. This is not very thick. I think it's 8-inch thick and about 1 inch wide. And so I will cut this into straps that are wide enough to straddle two channels side by side. And I will drill a couple of holes in them, which will agree with the center line, the center between the two nuts in the channel. And that should sort of, once you get it cinched up and tightened up, it should hold those together where they won't separate. So this piece of aluminum is smaller, as you can see, 3/4 of an inch wide and thinner, probably 1/16 of an inch. And this will be used for grounding of the panels. Way up there on top, and actually on each end, are some grounding holes where you can screw in a ground screw and then attach a ground wire or something like that to ground all of these together. And so the idea is here is to ground all these panels together too. I'm not going to take the chance and assume all the time that just because I've bolted these to the unistrut that will supply enough grounding. I want double protection, so that's why I'm doing this. So the extra set of grounding for the panels, and then I will also ground the rack as well, just to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so up here on top, I've got this little strap here to hold this bracket to hold these two pieces of Unistrut together. I've also got, you can see, the grounding strap attached. Just used a metal screw, you know, a tapping screw with a 5/16 head to hold that together. That should provide good grounding, but I should probably test the grounding before I get down just to make sure I've got good continuity. Well, I'll do that. So I thought I'd show you the anatomy here of the rack. This is all speed rail hardware that's made by a company called Hollander. And here's an elbow, here's a T. I've used, for this part of the racking system, I've used stainless steel hardware. This is a stainless steel bolt and lock nut. But the rest of this is high strength cast aluminum that's been polished. And then this is cast aluminum as well. This is galvanized steel pipe. It's actually top rail pipe from a chain link fence. So it's 1 3/8 diameter top rail. And I have 4 of those that support these panels, you can see. But I think now that all this is tightened, I can get down here from the top of the trailer for good. Well, Robert, what do you think?
It's a black wall.
It sure is.
Good.
We weren't able to mate up the panels exactly top to bottom because of the spacing on the super strut. But we tried, and it'll be fine. It's fine that way. You know, again, temporary deal, right, Robert?
Yeah.
I've still got to connect some grounding wires. I'm sorry, grounding straps between the top and bottom panels, and then need to work out some grounding down here.
For what?
Well, because we need to ground it to the ground temporarily during storm season here, in case we get some lightning. And we need to finish hooking up these panels to each other. So we're gonna have, this will be one series, and this will be one series, and they'll both plug into the inside of Buzz. And then we need to figure out a way to route these wires into Buzz properly, because right now it just goes in through the door, and that's no good. Can't have that. But we also have a mouse problem out there at Contentment. We don't want mice crawling through where the wires penetrate. So
Well, you could put like one of those holes, you know, like one of the things that you get for an electric deal that has the plastic or the whatever.
like a, what they call a bulkhead, a bushing, maybe.
And just run it right through here someplace and put a bushing,
Yeah.
and then maybe that would keep the critters out.
I wonder if our wires are long enough to do that. Maybe. Yeah, certainly a good thought. Okay, so we got to get, you know, like this support pipe here. We got to get this last one over here because I see it bowing a little bit. But coming along, hey Robert. Yeah. Happy with it so far? Okay, good. Sure are beautiful today.
Please, thanks.
Give me a kiss. Those stanchions are made to pull in and out, so.
Let's see if you can do it. I tried to do it. Oh, it is. Awesome.
It looks like we're getting some resistance, but we need to figure out where.
Up there at the top on those things, they're not,
The elbows aren't moving?
nope. The elbows are not really moving.
So you just loosen them a little bit. And then lift. So we need to figure out the angles and then figure out where to drill our holes in these stanchions so that we can pull it out, throw a bolt in to hold it. It's a lot further away from the side of the trailer than I thought it would be. I expected, and maybe in the summer it'll be, because I expected the tops of the panels to be way out over, you know, almost even with the other side of the trailer. It'd be so far, and maybe it will be, I don't know. See.
When you pull it out all the way.
Yeah, when we do our summer adjustment, the sun is really high. So, here.